Yes, welcome. And here we are, my dear friends, on this beautiful day. We ended up on the left angle cross of the Clarion with the 5-1 profile. So the moment you have the Clarion is very obvious. The Clarion is just sound. One of my friends sent me a bicycle horn. I keep it in the house. Every once in a while I go ting-a-ling-a-ling. The whole thing about the nature of the Clarion is that what the Clarion is here to do is externalize shock. That's what they're here to do. That's the ultimate heretic. Loudmouth, in your face, ready to shock you. They're very powerful forces with the Aryan stupidity, the bravado of the 51, the dumb ego. Oh boy, when they walk into the village and they lay out their heretical trip, they carry an enormous power trip with them. They just do. So everything about them is to shock you. It's all because they were shocked, and because of that, initiation is revenge. Oh, I know. At the deepest level, initiation is revenge. I got it. You're going to get it. It's good for you. And every time you meet this kind of initiating force, when you meet it, their revenge on you, you stupid bunny. I'm going to wake you up because I was a stupid bunny and I got woke up. It's a dumb ego. It's just a dummy ego. And remember, something about the 5125. You will never see more competition in any configuration. Incredible competitiveness. The secret of being a five personality is rooted in practicality. If you cannot be practical, if you cannot provide what's practical, if you're going to get smashed. I'm an archetype of somebody who has always walked the edge because I'm an ego manifestor 5-1 Clarion. My life has been for being a manifestor, for being an egoist, for being all of these things. I'm not just a 51, I'm a 26 and I'm a 40. And to be a 5 on top of that and to be subjected to the projection that comes with all of that, what you end up is a real paranoia. Yeah, I could shock them. But then again, you pay a terrible price. It's one of the things that the heretic always lives with. You cannot afford to make a mistake. You can't. You can't because you get crushed like a stone. And the crushing isn't going to be pleasant. If you come with ego power and you manipulate people and it doesn't work, they're going to be really upset. I know all that expectation that goes with it, all of it. There's something I've learned in my process about the nature of illumination. Whenever there's an experience I can remember that had a mystical value, whoever at some level or another I was in pain. It's so common in mystical experience for those in the process of the mystical experience to suffer. It's the way in which you deaden the defense system of the body and you make it more sensitive to being impacted. Shock is about shattering. Nobody who can initiate you can provide you with that initiation. They can only set you up. I'm a great setup man. The way I set you up is that I try to shatter you. If I shatter you, I know that there's a chance. I know that the shock itself may lead to something. Remember that I'm speaking from the perspective of the 51, not the 25. The 25 wants to control the way in which the shattering gets put back together. That's the priest in me, the teacher who sits up there and lays out the formula. So the shattering of coming to yourself is not a shattering that leaves you naked. Anybody who met me in my early years knows what I did. I left you naked. I just shattered you, told you to get a howl out, and went about my business. As I've matured as an initiator, I've begun to recognize the need to fulfill my 25 as much as my 51, to get to the point where we, as a structure, provided for those who have been shattered, because otherwise you lose so many that perhaps truly could be reconstituted. But the whole thing to understand about the 51 is to recognize that as a clarion, all you're trying to do is shock people. That's why it's the clarion. Imagine what that's like. You're fast asleep and somebody blows a horn in your ear. You can imagine this is an incredible shattering experience. Your body comes up breathing and wailing and praying. This is what initiation is. We have all this exalted shit about it. Really, we take initiated and we put them on this high pedestal, and all they are is very loud horn blowers that are just so damn loud they shatter our thinking. That's what people like me do. We just shout at you. Whatever they're shouting is a whisper. The 57 on the other side of the 51. If the 51 is smacking you in the face, the 57 is crawling into your underwear. In the end, it gets you. You really have to see it doesn't know. It doesn't know it's an initiator. I had to learn that, particularly as a manifestor. It was really dumb. The idea that I had impact on people was not something I dealt with. The idea that I would say something and it would hurt somebody is not something I ever thought about. Imagine, you can't get dumber than that. I was running around shocking people. Had no idea I was doing this. Had no idea why they were so annoyed with me. And then there's my five going, we have to get out of town. So I would get out of town, no idea. When I began to enter into all of the new age Ibiza, there was a time of the height of the guru heat. And when I met the voice, I realized that I thought, these fools don't get it. Don't they get what initiation is? Aesthetic, it's interference, it's all this is. Basically, all I do as an initiator is smack people. What is so amazing about the dummy ego is that it actually assumes importance for its ability to create interference in other people. Not only that, because I'm such an individual channel, they think it's them. Follow me is the way, because this is the way I've gone, and I've gone later, and I can show you. This was my mantra in the early years. I used to get up on stage and say, don't believe me, don't trust me. By the way, it was very clever. Just another way to shock. People would say to me at the end of the reading, what should I do? I say, go home. Just shock for shock after sake. After all, because there's nothing that the dumb ego can do but shock. If you're a Clarion, all you want to do is shock. I'm so safe when I live in my own house because I don't end up in those situations where I do my 5-1 Clarion. I can be so innoxious in it and still is going to carry on all that. Then you begin to see it's not holy. I don't see it. Initiation is holy. I see it as noisy more than anything else. It's true power rooted in the penetration. Remember, rooted in this penetration, the difference between the cross of penetration and the clarion is that the clarion is loud enough to break through the surface barriers and go deep inside of you. I'll penetrate you right down to your base and rattle all the parts beneath. There's no escape from that, which is why most human beings prefer the 51s dying foolishly in battle, because you don't want cranking you up at all the time. If you want problems, get yourself a clarion. My fascination in my cross is that I so enjoyed the labyrinth version. On the other side of McLaren is the sun in the 57, and the archetype of that for me was the Alistair Crowley, because we're in a similar kind of business and sort of darkest and blah blah blah. But it's also interesting to see the difference between being a 51 and being a 57. Now, different is that the 57 is a stupid, the 51 is a stupid, the 57 is an awareness gate. It's an awareness gate, not the 51. That's why I remain innocent. He was never innocent. I'm a real innocent. I'm too dumb to be anything else because everything about me is rooted in my ego. I'm an ego manifester. I'm an ego initiator. I'm an ego being. I'm an Aryan. I'm as ego could be. And it's dumb ego. Perfect. Clarions are not really here to be intelligent. They're most effective in their innocence. And what I mean by that is if you're an intelligent clarion like I am, you really put your life on the line. You're at risk. You're really at risk because the moment you can be intelligent about what you're shattering people is the moment they say you're responsible for shattering them. And that's the moment you can take their revenge on you. It's the shattering isn't productive. But the key is its practicality. It's just practicality. The thing that saves me is the logic of all this, the usefulness of all this, the practical application of all of us. All of it saves me. So when I say to you that you're an idiot and you're stupid, you have nothing you can do with it because I can prove it to you. There's nothing you can do about that. I can shock you as deeply as I can because my shock is honest, because of what I know. I'm lucky. Wow, quite something, Ra. Thank you very much. The 5-2. If you would like, I would like to see the 5-2s take on a larger responsibility in this business. It would really be helpful. It would take some of the pressure off. To be a 5-1 Clarion, you have to prove something. That's the first line trip. You have to prove it all. The 5-2s, it would rather really be great. It would really be easy. You don't have to prove anything. You just do it. Walk away. It's okay. Go back to the cave. This rarely comes out. The last thing a 5-2 wants to be is responsible for another human being. It's the last thing they want. It's not like the 5-1 wants to be responsible for other human beings, but they're forced to be responsible because they have to prove it. They cannot just set you in the way and let it go. They have to prove to you that the way is going to take you somewhere. That's where the heresy so often breaks down. The great seduction of the five is that it can pull you into its magic, but it doesn't mean the magic will deliver. So many heretics don't give you in the end what is practical. And because you're the clarions, we stand out, we are thunder over thunder, we are the nature of this quarter, we are the mental force to stand up there and take the heat for it. Now the 5-2s are in a cave. There's nothing more important than letting everybody else know. Whether you're going to be a 5-1 or a 5-2 at some point or another in your life, where it's going to be a demand within you actualized, where you can be what your everything about our experience is that the only way we can make things work is that everybody does have to know. And everybody has to know something very special. What they have to know is that they themselves are the center of the universe. When you look at the 551, its natural circuit is centering. That's a natural circuit. Centering has an enormous impact on our human life. It brings everybody the opportunity to move towards the individual, to move towards following your own conviction, to finding within yourself the power to live your behavior, to live correctly as yourself, to be awakened in that, to follow the convictions that arrive at all of the initiation. That's what this story is all about. When the 5-1 or 5-2s play out their role, they're moving you towards that, towards your behavior, your way, but finding it through love, finding it through the power of being yourself and trusting and following your own way. Remember, this is not the breaking away from the tribal servitude to the slave world, the world where everybody is living under the sum of controlled organization. When you get to 51 and 55 and says, damn that. No, there has to be something else. There has to be something else. It's too dumb to know what it is. The 51, but it's born to set the fire. It's the goal. The 51 gate is the gallbladder. It's the goal to defy collectively, to defy the tribe. It's what I teach you. There's nothing more important than you being you. You are the center of the universe. You are the only truth of what you are. You are all the only representative of what you are. You're the only hope we have. You're the only one who has the unique individual human right. I am somebody who's here to awaken the individual. I teach you differentiation. I prove to you that you're different from the next person. You must understand that the moment I can prove to you that you're different from the next person, you no longer have to be worried about measurement. You no longer have to worry about the collective placing you in a cubby hole. You no longer have to support the tribe because you're born with their blood. You can awaken to yourself. And of course, this is what initiation is all about. Only when we get to the point that we are in the full glory of our differentiated self are we ready to become one with the rest. It's like until you love yourself, you can't love the other. So the part to wholeness begins with separation, begins with differentiation, begins with waking up. It's not about control from the outside. Here lies the illusion of freedom, to break free, to leap into the void and lose forever the constraints of the mundane world. I know that movie. You can get there. You can get there.